What are some common ways people unknowingly adapt to trauma? And how can these coping mechanisms sometimes create new challenges?
Unknowingly adapt to trauma. Well, depression is a big one. Not
Mm,
that that is something a person chooses, but depression, which so often is maligned as laziness, come on, just get up and get out there.
get
Don't
over
sit
it.
at home or get over it, right? Depression is actually a self-protective, self-preserving response.
Really?
Depression, yes, it is. Depression is typically a response to being chronically stressed and or chronically overwhelmed by whatever, and that can trigger this depression part of the emotional system to come along and kind of tamp everything down. Here, you just get into your hole and I'll cover you up. And it often shows up as all this grayness like a cloud,
Yeah.
and it does mute everything. It'd be great if it only muted the stress and overwhelm and anxiety that often is co-occurring, but it'll just tamp down everything and gray up everything, because to feel gray and diminished is certainly better than to be keyed up, stressed, freaking out, or any of those extremes. So when somebody comes in and they're dealing with depression, I wonder what's been overwhelming this person? What's been stressing this individual out so much that the emotional system has a need to just shut everything down before the stress takes the individual completely out?
I've never heard it explained like that, and it makes complete sense. So it's almost like a coping mechanism for our body. It's
Yes.
a protective coping mechanism for our body. So we can't have you all hyped up and jacked up all the time. So we got to mute you. But unfortunately, that muting, like you said, affects everything in their world.
Everything. Everything. Yeah,
That,
depression is it's often misunderstood.
oh, yeah.
It's often misunderstood. And again, it's not something that a person is going to choose like, "Oh, I'm going to choose to live in this gray cloud for the rest of my days." No, but it's often something that the person's emotional system, which again is all about self protection, self preservation. And when I work with clients, that's what I'm doing. I'm working with their emotional systems and teaching them that every emotion is a part of the system. And you can think of them like little people running around inside, and they all have their purposes.
Mhm.
And their purpose is to keep bad things from happening.
Right,
But they
protect you.
go about it in so many different ways.
Yeah, our body is smart but dumb too.
Yes, yes. So that's a big coping mechanism. And then of course you have any of the things that would numb out. So any addiction
Mhm.
will bring relief. I would say instant relief when the person is really engaging in that addiction. And that certainly, in those first few moments, feels tons better than what the trauma will feel like. Myself, a big part of my story is a lifelong battle with food addiction.
Mhm.
And it's still something that's very much in process, and that food addiction is there to help me when I am wanting to put myself out there with the different career endeavors that I'm pursuing. This food addiction part is like, that's kind of uncomfortable. How about instead you eat? And I'm like, oh, that does sound a lot better.
Yep. 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 Been there. Yep. Yep. Mhm. Yep.
That certainly would be a lot more comfortable. I know what that is.
Right.
But this other stuff, I put myself out here and I put myself out there, and what if nothing happens, or, I just get discouraged? Well, I can't have that. But this I know. this has been my friend for decades and decades,
Mhm.
and we like what we're comfortable with. So addiction is a common coping mechanism. Trying to control everything is a very common coping mechanism. Again, self-protection, self-preservation. If I can control everything, I can keep any more bad stuff from happening.
And we get these coping
And it's
mechanisms when we're in the trauma, right? And it's what got us through at the moment, and our little minds go, "Oh, that worked. Note to self, save that back there." And then we take it into our adult life and it's just it doesn't work anymore.
yeah, it works to an extent in the real time of the trauma, and then afterwards, it stops working, and we're like, "Wait, what?
I'm
Why did that
confused.
stop working? That's not okay." But I think I'll try it about 53 more times because certainly one of these times it'll start working again.
That's so true. It's so true. God, the crazy things that we do, and it's so true. It's so true.
Ah,
But
yes,
I can
yes,
relate because
yes.
the projects I've got going on too, it does get it does it I go through all those emotions too, and I'll catch myself wandering out into the kitchen. I'm hungry." "No, really? Really? Are you really hungry? Are you just trying
What are you
to
avoiding
fill
right now?
something?" And sometimes I just feel something, I just do.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
it's a
That's
process though.
right.
That's the biggest part, is it's a process, and I feel like I'll be on my healing journey till I take my last breath, but it does get easier. It does get easier than when you start.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank goodness.
And so I remind me again what your second
Oh,
question
the
was.
second question, oh, okay. And how can these coping mechanisms sometimes create new challenges?
Ah,
The
yes,
challenges.
indeed. Yeah, so we've started talking about that. They will create new challenges by causing new difficulties to deal with. So in the case of depression, all right, so I'm traumatized and stressed out and anxious from that stuff that happened, and I have this additional issue of depression. Okay, so that's like a double layer of suckiness,
Mhm.
and now I need even more help than I used to need, or I was I thought I was getting past my traumatic past, but now I have developed this skin picking disorder where I can't stop picking at spots on my skin. And so now I've got that. And where did that come from? And I can't stop. It's so soothing when I pick at my skin like that. Or again, if there's some kind of compulsive, maybe it's not even in full on addiction, but some just any kind of compulsive behavior that will help the person to feel like he or she has a measure of control over life, which can be highly misleading. So maybe that's excess shopping. Maybe it's like excessively checking on loved ones. And if, the person doesn't answer the phone or doesn't answer a text within a reasonable amount of time, then those fears go from 0 to 100.
Mhm.
Anything that is adding to the stress, anything that is causing more confusion, causing more of a challenge in life, those things can be thought of as potentially related to the trauma, and trying to get the person out of the mess and the pain and the confusion of trauma, but then just landing in a different pot of hot water.
Yeah, yeah. Just another thing to try to cope with their trauma.